I didn't know if it was going to be possible to make a t-shirt in the United States of America. And here's why. What up? Man, I just got a haul and wanted to talk about it because making a t-shirt should seem so easy. Like, oh, we can make t-shirts in America. No factor. But to make a great t-shirt has been really difficult. We've spent a decade on it. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. So many trials to go through to get a good product, and then dealing with supply chain issues, which I'm going to get into, and finally coming out on the other side where we didn't even know if it was going to be possible to make a t-shirt in America at this time last year. And this is from the horse's mouth, and I'm not going to say who, but this comes from an in-depth conversation I had with a major player in the American supply chain, and we'll leave it at that. The manufacturers in America that are left in textiles and apparel. I say the ones that are left because 90+% of the business has been exported, has been sold to the lowest bidders. And it's funny because the machines themselves for manufacturing apparel and textiles, once they moved out of the United States, they moved to the lowest bidder. And what I mean is whoever has the cheapest labor and cheapest prices, they literally will pack up all those machines and move it to the next location. It's wild industry, and here we are ignoring all of that, not knowing where our stuff comes from. Even American cotton, most of it gets exported. I gotta say it's over 80% gets exported. We grow the best cotton in the world. In the United States of America, the best cotton is grown here, including Pima cotton is grown here, which is absolutely the best cotton in the world. And being able to grow that commodity, it's just one step in the process. And that's not what I want to talk about. I just want to talk about the vulnerability of trying to make a freaking t-shirt and the absolute clusterfuck that we had to go through over the past 12 months to make sure that what we were providing for a product wasn't just good, but it was best in class, and do it on a very challenged, strained, fragile American supply chain. But first we got to ask the question, well, why? Why is the US supply chain hanging on by a thread? And the reason that I'm going to share comes down to this. After the, let's just say, destruction of America's textile and apparel base, after the World Trade Organization and GATT, after both sides came together, the right and the left, and said, yeah, let's send it offshore. Nobody wants to sit behind a sewing machine, which was literally said in Congress, I think by a congressman or a senator, on public record, on the news. Bill Clinton then signed it away, right? And at that point, it was, one of my business partners, Kip, says it was gluttony. It was gluttonous. And at that time, he had shared with me he was working as a co-founder of Under Armour, building that brand. And this was 1995, maybe 1996, right? Somewhere around there where he's like, Pete, we could only import so much, and all of a sudden, it was gluttony. He's like, and we could buy as much as we wanted. And he was reporting to the street, and of course, hey, listen, let's drive those stock prices up, right? And it's part of the reason Kip's involved in Origin, just because I think he's trying to unwind some of the things he did in the past and rebuild kind of a strong economy here, right? So I heard it firsthand from him what it looked like once this thing called quota went away. Now I have a manuscript right here that I'm not going to show you who it's from, but I have a manuscript right here. This is about quota that so a friend of mine wrote that I'm reading because he was a quota man. So he was responsible for making sure only so much came into the United States of this category and this product, right? He was responsible for, in China, you can give us, 1,500,000 pairs of shoes, of sneakers, right? And that's your quota. And you can't send any more than that. Well, once quota went away, which is what this is all about, and I've started it, and it's really incredibly enlightening to hear from the inside, the person working for the government on quota, my business partner who was part of the exporting of factories and building factories overseas for less expensive product. I'm not talking quality, I'm talking about cost. because there's a lot of great quality from overseas product. I mean, there's quality around the world. Quality is a whole different conversation. Soulfulness and soullessness, those are two different things. We try to build things with soul, not that are soulless. But I've got these two things, and then like here I am, kind of against the grain, like build a freaking factory up in the woods of Maine and try to weave shit again, and try to take this fiber and weave and or knit it into a textile that then can be made. And I'm glad I was blind to everything, because I don't think as an entrepreneur that I personally would be doing this right now. If I was educated back then on what I know now, I would understand why people said it's impossible. And so the naivete was a definite superpower, along with the FU to everybody that said it can't be done, that spread that propaganda. But modern day, when you look at simple things like weaving a material for a t-shirt, knitting, this is a knit product, a material for a t-shirt. Why wasn't it all exported? Was because the government, for military purposes, needed to keep some manufacturing. So you have corporate raiders making deals with greedy politicians, backroom deals. No social media back then. They're sitting in the back rooms with a whiskey like, buy this stock because we're offshoring and our margins are gonna go from 50 points to 70 points and our stock price is gonna explode and it's gonna be wonderful. And so they're doing this over here. But at the same time, you've got the United States military that, hey, listen, if we went to war, we need to have the production. We need to have the ability to produce for our United States military. That's textiles and camouflage, printed camouflage, and cutting and sewing pants and cutting and sewing boots, footwear, bags, parachutes, you name it. We still got to be able to do that stuff, because if we were cut off, if the United States was cut off and we were self-sufficient, we wouldn't be able to provide, even today. They played a war game. We wouldn't be able to provide our own military with the goods they need in a war. And that's not a good place to be. But the reason these textile companies still exist is because the United States military need them to be open. Now, part of that whole thing, and this is a deeper conversation, and I'm just stating facts. I'm not saying I agree with this or don't agree with that. I don't know, I'm not educated enough to say how they handled it post, let's say runaway capitalism, predatory capitalism, abandoned America's manufacturing communities. But as far as the way the military is reacting to needing goods, like I don't know enough about it. I just know that the mills that have hung on are because of the military. And the administrations, all the way up to, and this is from someone on the inside, so you can debate me, but I'm just telling you truth, okay? During the Biden administration, they didn't follow what all the administrations have done in the past all the way up through the 90s, which is, as America supported our allies, we shipped not just cash, we shipped goods. Goods in the form of finished goods and raw materials. And so if we're going to give $1 billion to somebody, it's not just we're going to give you $1 billion in cash. It's we're going to give you $100 million in t-shirts, right? We're going to give you $200 million in boots. We're going to give you $500 million in this thing or that thing. During the Biden administration, they shipped money instead of goods. What this did to the American supply chain during that administration is so many factories you never even heard about shut down. So many textile factories, so many cotton sew facilities that relied on government contracts shut down, because instead of shipping American goods to our allies, we shipped cash. We just gave cash away. What is the repercussions of that when it comes to a t-shirt? Well, eventually these companies are like, we can't sustain this, people. We can't do this anymore. We're not getting the orders from the United States government to support us keeping the machinery in the United States anymore. So what do? Protect the brand at all costs, protect the business at all costs. Well, one specifically, they picked up all their ring spinning machine, which was the one ring spinner that everybody in the US making stuff in the US uses. This company picked up their ring spinning machine and they said, we're moving it to Honduras. And off it went, right? Last year. Off it went, gone. That takes a huge capability out of the American supply chain. It's not the fact that the machinery left, it's that the knowledge now slowly dissolves. Every year that knowledge is going to dissolve on ring spinning. And to resurrect that, like we did at Origin, is going to take somebody who is either insane or has so much money to waste that it doesn't even matter to them. That's like the two extremes, right? So ring spinning at scale it's not in America anymore. The United States of America. Ring spinning at scale. Fuck. And that's where we were left. After having this private conversation in our own back room to understand what went wrong, what are we gonna freaking do at Origin? And we're all about solving problems. Like, one of the core values of Origin is resourcefulness and continuous improvement. And so we went back to the drawing board with our fabric developer and our product team and our back-end team, our ops team. And I said, just guys, I'm not accepting defeat on this. One of our core values is also we source and make in America, and we exhaust all efforts to do that. Unless something absolutely isn't made in the US and we've got to source it in Canada or South America, and that is very, very, very rare. Very rare instance where we can't find something made here. At the same time, we have to be flexible in what that means. And we can't be stubborn. Being stubborn in business, be stubborn about protecting your employees, protecting the product, making sure it's of high quality, protecting the customers, making sure their experience is what they need. Like definitely be stubborn about that. Like, be overwhelmingly stubborn about that experience inside your business and outside your business. That's how I look at it. But don't be stubborn about situations that you can't control. You can't control what you can't control, but you can control the way you respond to things you can't control. You've heard me say this before. It's a freaking thing I say to my kids, all right? And I'm saying it to you. We can't control that the ring spinning got sent to Honduras. We can't. We can control if we say, that's it, we're gonna have to bring yarn in from China. We're gonna have to bring yarn in from Mexico. That wasn't an option, even if it was American cotton. And I said, we gotta exhaust all efforts. Go back to the brand book, which I'll show you someday. What does it say? Exhaust all efforts. Have we exhausted all efforts? I challenged the team, no. Well, what else is there? Well, there's this and that and this. And then someone said, how about vortex? And I said, I don't even know what vortex is. Tell me more. Well, vortex is a way of spinning yarn, just like open-end spinning, old school. If you just took a piece of cotton and went, right, and all the little fingers are hanging out, that's like open-end. And then there's ring spinning, and then there's some other types of spinning, but vortex is a way of spinning yarn that uses an air jet machine. And it separates the small fibers, and they used to only be able to use vortex spinning for synthetics, and in recent years, they advanced the technology to be able to spin yarn, cotton yarn. And it's 20 times faster than ring spinning. And so what type of yarn does it produce? Well, it might be a little bit more coarse, but the consumer probably won't feel it. And I'm wearing a Vortex t-shirt right now. Okay, that's cool. What else? Well, it's probably gonna pill less, right? Like ring spun is super soft like cashmere, and this is still very soft, little bit less, but it's gonna pill less. Oh, that's an advantage. Okay, so there's a silver lining, and it's more durable. It's more abrasion resistant. Oh, tell me more. And so we went back to the drawing board because we still had Vortex spinning in the United States, and we spent the year figuring it the frig out and having to go through knitting trials and wash trials and cut and sew samples. And this year, and right now, we finally got to a point where we got back to the t-shirt that I've always dreamed of making, that took 10 years to make in the first place. We got back there. The fit, the cut, the feel, the durability, the aesthetic, all of it, we got there. And it was an absolute pain in the ass to get there, and it cost us a bunch of time, money, capital, capacity. It cost us all those 3 macros of business that we've talked about. And we ended up with a really wonderful product, silver lining. So that's the t-shirt business for Origin. And the product it's unbelievable. It's American made. It's got soul because we spent time not compromising. And that's what makes this important. And when you put this on your body, and a guy said to me, he sent me an email, and in the email he said, my daughter wanted to wear my Origin hoodie and it had a wave on the front of it. And I had to pause. And she was maybe 10 years old, he said, and she sat her down and he said, listen, honey, I need to tell you about this company. I'm gonna allow you to wear this hoodie, this Kilo Light hoodie, but I have to explain to you what that logo is on the front. That's the wave of freedom. That wave of freedom is the wave of reshoring, of restoring, and reclaiming what's been lost in America, because that thing is made in America from dirt to shirt. And he shared this with me because that's important to him, and I know it's important to me. And that's why I'm sharing it with you, because I believe that's also important to you. A simple t-shirt, what a pain in the ass, and what a wonderful result. Always a silver lining. I don't know if you're gonna learn something from this. I hope you do. Please share, comment below, tell me your thoughts. If you like more stories like this, I've got hundreds of them. But this is just one because I've been ordering these t-shirts from Origin the past couple of months because they're finally fixed, and I've been replacing all my old Origin t-shirts with all the new Origin t-shirts. And now we have this new graphics programs, and we're doing seasonal releases, and it's freaking awesome. So go get some t-shirts if you love America.